talk about Alabama getting its very first 2024 commitment over the last few days. We're also going to talk about the SEC basketball schedule and why it's interesting. Again, it's just funky how they do this thing sort of randomly, but we'll talk about that. And then Jimmy's going to have a quick hitter for you later on today in the final segment of the program. I want to thank you for making us your first listen when it comes to Alabama podcast. Also want to thank you for just being awesome. Thank you for being you. I don't know why I did that, but I did it. And here we go. So let's get started. Locked on Bama.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
Doing good. Less than 9 weeks out, I think.
Yeah, we're about 9 weeks out.
Yep, from game. Week 0 is less than 9 weeks away.
Well, something that is less than that away was Alabama's first commitment for 2024, which happened a few days ago. Perry Thompson, a wide receiver out of Foley. We've had pretty good luck with receivers out of Foley. People out of Foley in general, I would say. DJ Fluker, Julio Jones, Kenny Stabler. All those dudes came from Foley, right? I kind of dig it.
Yeah, it seems that when we get a kid from Foley, he ends up being pretty good. You know, Stabler, Julio, they worked out. Fluker was good. And even Big Rob Lester was signed with Fluke. Perry is, I know him well. I know his game well. He is a real interesting kid because he's so big. I know he's listed as 6'3", 205, which doesn't sound gigantic, for a wide receiver. That sounds like, well, there are SEC receivers that size. But Perry is just in the 10th grade, and he's 6'3", 205. And he's one of these kids that looks bigger than his listed size. You see him and you're like, wow, kid's a monster. He's just really wide and long and thick. I mean, one thing I'll say about Perry is, and I know nothing about his genetics or his parents or anything like that, but when I look at him, I wonder if he's going to grow out of wide receiver. I mean, I think that's very possible. He's just so big. He can end up being a tight end, an H-back, maybe even play defense. But, what gets your attention is his skill set at wide receiver. He's a legit good, wide receiver at the 7A level. I mean, that's who he plays against down here, right? I mean, he's playing against Fairhope and Daphne and McGill and Murphy and the big Mobile schools. So he plays against good competition, still puts up good numbers. He ran sub 11 flat 100-meter times this spring. He's not a world-class sprinter, but he runs 100-meter times for his size that are like, wow, that kid can really move for a big kid. So, if he's a wide receiver, to me, Luke, he's Alshon Jeffrey, which is a heck of a thing to say. That's a first-round pick and an NFL player. But if he sticks at wide receiver, that's his style. That's who he is. He could easily grow out of the position, though. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's the one concern I had. The other thing, and again, I'm picking nits here because I definitely want him. It is a little odd when you look at his offer list so far. It's Alabama, to whom he's committed, Alabama A&M, Austin Peay, Georgia Southern, and Georgia State. And let's call it like we see it. If Auburn had gotten commitment from the same guy with the same offer list, we'd be chuckling a little bit. That being said, Nick Saban has earned the right to go out and find a dude that he thinks is a dude. And I don't think there's any doubt that Perry Thompson will be more highly regarded relatively soon. And if you watch his film, he is sort of a go up and get it guy. I mean, there were a couple of balls that were not very well thrown, at least from my judgment at first. And I was like, no, wait, maybe they threw it exactly where they wanted to throw it because they know, okay, I'm going to throw this up. It's going to be a moonraker and it's going to come straight down. And he's going to get it and then probably score with it. And that's what happened. Now, the speed where you talked about, he can move for a big man especially. But a couple of things about that. When you're a big guy and you're really fast, it always seems like it's harder to have any kind of wiggle. Maybe you don't need as much wiggle. But I always worry that it's a straight line speed. Like he can go one way and one way really fast, but no movement. And again, I don't know that that's a problem with him. I'm just saying he's so big. It is concerning about the wide receiver side. Maybe, um, uh, maybe he can be sort of Shannon Sharp esque, but more of a receiver versus tight end kind of guy because he looks bulky. Even his profile picture. I mean, his shoulders are broad, his arms are strong. And I'm not trying to paint a negative picture here. I just I think we need to tell all the facts here and not just pump him up. But because I do think he's going to shoot up the charts. There's no doubt in my mind he'll end up being a top 150 player in the country. I really believe that, even though right now it looks like he's nowhere near it. Right?
Well, not at this exact moment, and some of that's that offer list, but the offer list is also easily explainable. We got to remember this is a really young player. I mean, he just completed the 10th grade. He plays, sure, at a big school, but not a big successful school. There's not a lot of eyes on Foley. They've been kind of 1-9 for a while. I think this upcoming season will be the first year they've been good, in a while. So that's part of it. Doesn't also, to be honest, doesn't have a great quarterback, and that can really affect your numbers at wide receiver when you have a quarterback that struggles to get you the ball. That's another thing. But Perry goes to Alabama. So this is it. You watch his tape, and this is how high I was well aware of him for the past several months because I saw him play last year in the 10th grade, and my look at him was like, okay, that's an SEC football player. Now, what I didn't know at that time, I didn't see enough of him to determine, okay, is he Alabama good or SEC good? And to be honest, that's a different thing, right? I mean, yeah. Alabama recruits one pool of players, and Mississippi State and South Carolina recruit from another pool of players. I saw enough to know, okay, that's an SEC player. Now the question is he Alabama good? I didn't see enough to know, but I thought he might be. I'm the one that went to the On3 and created his page for him because I'm like, hey, I know y'all never heard of this guy, but he's going to be a thing, okay? And for a lot of the local kids, I've created their On3 page because I know who's likely to grow into a really good prospect. So Perry was definitely on my radar. And when he went to Alabama's camp, and then I heard from a friend of a friend, a guy from Foley, I heard he was completely dominant at our camp, even in one-on-one matchups against seniors with offers with offers at Alabama, senior defensive backs that Alabama wants him this class. 10th grade Perry Thompson was killing those guys. And did it surprise me? Not in the least, because I'm like, aha, okay, he's Alabama good. I'm not surprised at all.
Jimmy, let's go ahead and tell everybody right now about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcast, and news this season. BetOnline is where the game starts, and BetOnline is sponsoring this here podcast as we speak, and we appreciate them very, very much. Jimmy, I also want to tell everybody to go check out our conference shows. Look, you can go to Locked On SEC, get more on the SEC by making Locked On SEC your second listen right after Locked On Bama. Every day, host Chris Gordy and the local experts on Locked On have a take across the SEC. It's pretty cool, about 30 minutes, and you get to get the whole spectrum of the SEC, which is very, very cool. All right, Jimmy, what we're going to do one more segment here, and then we're going to let you finish up with a quick hitter that you'll send to me separately. But I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about Alabama's supposed, now this is apparently a leak about Alabama and everybody's basketball schedule. I also want to say quickly, Francis Mauigawa, who we debated how to pronounce his name, we don't know, but he is going to announce on July 4th. So that's pretty interesting. Tennessee looks to be the favorite, but who knows? So we'll just we'll see how that goes.
I'm not complaining, but now that I'm finally in the industry, after years of watching the industry and having friends in the industry, now I'm in the industry. This never really occurred to me. And now that I'm in the industry, boy, does it ever occur to me because I'm part of it. But these kids, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. These kids deserve their own moment and their own at the time of their choosing. But when a kid's like, I'm going to commit on July 4th, every recruiting guy at every school that's committing Francis now has to work on July 4th. Everyone.
Well, that's what everybody
So
said. Like, he must really hate
kind.
Hank South.
Exactly. Be kind to the recruiting industry, people.
Okay. Here's Alabama's supposed schedule for basketball next year. Alabama, the home that they don't return game for. Boy, that's the teams we only play at home in the SEC are Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, and Ole Miss. Okay, Kentucky at home only is very nice. I'm glad we don't play Kentucky twice. I mean, we always get stuck with Kentucky twice, it seems. So I think that's great. Only playing Florida at home, also a good thing. I wish we kind of played Georgia on the road to get
Right.
revenge, but Ole Miss at home, I also dig because that place over there is usually a house of horrors for us. Only on the road teams, Missouri, which is no easy place to play, and they have a nice little class coming in. South Carolina, I have no idea what South Carolina is going to be like this year. New coach, new a lot of things. Tennessee on the road, that's going to be a bear,
Ooh,
and Texas A&M on the road, that's also going to be a
probably.
bear.
Yeah.
So here's your home and away, Jimmy: Arkansas, Auburn, LSU, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. Okay, I can get down with this. I think LSU is going to be really bad this year, just total turnover. I don't think
Right.
Vanderbilt's going to be all that good.
No.
And we won there last year, right? If I remember right.
No, that was the Scottie Pippen game. Well, yeah, maybe we
No, he
did
beat
win.
us. He beat us in the tournament.
He beat us in the tournament. We beat him up there, but we beat him up there just barely. Scottie Pippen
Right.
had a game.
But he's not on the team anymore.
Correct. The undrafted Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
He
So
prepared for the draft.
yeah, that's right. So now Arkansas home and away is going to be tough. Arkansas is going to start out like anywhere from number 1 to number 5. And I'm kind of down with playing them twice because, I mean, look, okay, we lose up there. I can live with that. But we win at home. That makes up for it.
Cool.
Auburn home and away. I mean, Auburn's going to be good again. They're just going to be good as long as Pearl's there. We got to get used to that. But I think we can beat them at home. Mississippi State home and away. I think we can beat them both places. I don't know anything about their new coach,
Right.
their new players. I don't know anything about them. I think we can beat them both times. I think we can beat LSU both times, and I think we can beat Vandy both times. That doesn't mean I think we're going to go 6-0 against them because there's no way in hell we're going to do that. But I think we can go 5-1 and that's 6 them, and I'm down with
That's could have been worse. I thought last year's schedule was really, really tough, and we did. We played the toughest schedule in the entire country. This sounds more manageable to me than last year.
Right. I don't think there's any doubt about it. So I'm kind of happy with it. I wish it would be nicer if I would love to see Auburn play Kentucky twice in a year sometime in my lifetime. They didn't do it last year. They're not doing it this year. I know they did it too. But whatever. I mean, look, it is what it is. And so I'm just glad we're not playing Kentucky twice. I mean, and again, it's funny because Kentucky hadn't won the league lately. They haven't won the tournament lately. And we're still scared to death of playing them twice because we always know that's probably a surefire loss, and because they always have the most talent. But frankly, we've done okay against Kentucky of late, so I shouldn't be all that worried about them.
Kentucky, Arkansas, and Tennessee. I mean, I haven't studied the league just yet, but off the cuff, in terms of who I think is going to be really good this fall or this upcoming year, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee. Those three in particular to me look really tough. Auburn will be good. Florida will be good. But Kentucky, Arkansas, and Tennessee look to me like, those are losses on the road unless you're a freak show team.
Yeah, I think those three, and then I think the next group is only a 2-man group, and that's Auburn and Alabama. I think the top 5 teams of those three you mentioned in Auburn and Alabama, and then I think you have another little drop off, and you probably go to Florida. You probably go to shoot, I don't think Ole Miss is going to be that bad. They've got a guy coming in named Ruffin that's really good.
Right.
I think they'll be okay. I think Missouri will be okay. They could get in the tournament. But after that, I think there's maybe another significant drop-off. I think this year, Vandy and Jerry Stackhouse probably part ways at the end of it. Mississippi State, new regime. South Carolina, new regime. Georgia, still bad. I mean, Georgia went
to South Carolina for firing Frank Martin. Thank you. I mean, because there's no way. I don't even know who the new guy is off the top of my head, to be honest, but I bet he's not as good of a coach as Frank Martin was.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. All right, buddy. let's go ahead. We'll wrap this up. I'm going to add a quick hitter to this podcast at the very end, so y'all stay tuned for that. We're going to take another break. When we come back, Jimmy will have his own little wrap up of a quick hitter. If I don't have it at the end of this, I will have it as its separate own special quick hitter. I just want to let everybody know, so y'all stick with us either way. We appreciate you guys so much. This weekend is sort of helter skelter. I'm on the road in Nashville. Jimmy is at somebody's house. I think it's his. I'm not sure. Okay.
It's the rare show from my own home.
You rarely get a home game. I like it. Me too. We're always on the road.
My game is on the road. I'm the Harlem Globetrotter.
All right, buddy. That's going to do it. We will talk to you guys later. Roll Tide.